Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kathy from TiCSA. I'm the Partnerships Manager here at the Tourism Industry Council of South Australia. I'm super pumped to be back with you all again today as we kick off our In Conversation series for 2023. But before we start, though, I'd like to acknowledge I'm hosting this webinar from the lands of the Kaurna people. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands where you all join us from today, and the First Nations people participating in this webinar. I pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging, and celebrate the diversity of our First Nations peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of South Australia. As I said, I'm pumped to be back here to deliver another In Conversation series and our first one for 2023. This program is undertaken monthly to continue to keep our South Australian tourism industry and stakeholders informed and engaged. I'll introduce our speaker shortly. However, just a few housekeeping matters to remind everybody on. If you could keep your microphone on mute. Use the chat functionality. It's at the bottom of your screen, basically in bottom of your screen there. Use your chat functionality for any questions or comments. We love to make this session as interactive as possible, and I'll endeavour to work through your questions as we go through the session, but I also allow for some Q&A time at the end as well. Okay, so today's session is all on marketing, and the world of marketing appears to be, and we know it is, forever changing, and it really makes it difficult for us as business owners and you guys as business owners to continue to be across and navigate the space. So today I'm so pleased to have the wonderful Monica McLaren from Purple Giraffe with us. Purple Giraffe is a marketing consultancy located here in Adelaide and have been a proud partner of TiCSA for numerous years. Monica has extensive amount of experience in senior marketing roles across the travel and tourism industry. And today she is going to be giving us her top 5 marketing tips, what we should all be doing this year. So welcome, Monica.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today on behalf of Purple Giraffe and TiCSA. As Kathy mentioned, I've had over 20 years experience in the tourism and travel industry in various marketing roles. I started out my career in the beautiful, majestic hotels here in Adelaide. I moved on to a long career with Flight Centre all across Australia and internationally. I then worked for RAA Travel, so did a lot of local travel marketing there. Worked for some tour operators as well. So I worked for Adventure Tours Australia and Pinnacle Tours in Western Australia, and more recently worked for Discovery and G'day Park. So I've had a quite extensive experience across lots of different areas of travel and tourism over the last 20 plus years. But for the last 3 years, I've been doing some marketing consulting, and that's where I've landed with Purple Giraffe. I've been here for 6 months now. And really enjoying being able to help lots of businesses in South Australia.
Oh, so, Monica, we're so blessed to have you here today because you've worked on the industry side, so really understand challenges of what operators face as well. So no, we appreciate you being with us today.
Definitely. And
so,
just
oh, sorry, you go.
I was going to say, just on a bit of background. So with Purple Giraffe, Purple Giraffe was founded by our head giraffe, Linda Schenk, here in Adelaide in 2014. It's really based on that outsourced marketing. So we offer an end-to-end marketing consulting services to businesses that don't have the luxury of having a full in-house marketing team. And having come from working within businesses that do have that team and businesses that don't, it's just such a great value that we do offer to businesses in South Australia. So I'm really glad to be able to support South Australian business.
Lovely. Thanks, Monica. And like I said, it's just I've come from working in the industry for many years before joining TiCSA just over 3.5 years ago now. But yeah, there's a great pleasure of having that intimate understanding of the industry and being able to work on both sides of it. So we're going to be, we're very grateful to have your level of knowledge to impart on us all today. So let's just, before we kick things off, just reiterate to us back to the basics. Why is marketing so important for businesses and, particularly our sector, for tourism operators?
Absolutely. Look, in the tourism sector, we really compete quite heavily for share of wallet when it comes to disposable income. Not only are we competing with holiday options, but we're actually competing also with things like electrical goods, furniture, house renovations. When people do have money, we want to make sure that, that they know about us and know about the incredible experiences that we can offer people in their lives. And now that travel's ramping up again, travellers also have lots of choices from either doing local travel, interstate trips, overseas holidays. So for tourism operators, it's really important to make sure that you stand out from the crowd. And then particularly when it comes to being in such a highly digital world, it's important to sell the experience that you guys offer, as opposed to just listing your features and benefits on the website. So really, marketing is so important to drive awareness of your business, to drive brand recall, so that if someone is looking for an experience, they do remember and know that you're the business they want to go to experience, but also that it's really there to drive bookings and repeat business for you. So really important to make sure that you've got some good marketing tactics.
Yeah, and I think that's some really good points you raised, Monica, particularly because a lot of people have experienced a lot of high demand. We're coming off the peak season, but it's about driving that continued repeat business as well. So, and making sure you're getting your fair market share. So I think probably in busy times, marketing is one of the first things that probably gets prioritised or moves down the bottom of the list. Correct. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, but it's about being proactive and future thinking in terms of your marketing strategy there. So I'm really keen to hear, the top 5 tips. We're at the beginning of the year here for in 2023. So I believe you have prepared some slides for us, which I love, Monica. So yeah, feel free to share those whenever you like, but and laying down, essentially it's just about laying down the foundations and what we should be aiming to do in making the most of these tips in our business for this year.
Yeah, look, before I start my 5 fantastic tips for 2023, I really want to just quickly touch on the foundations for marketing, and that really is making sure that you understand who your target market is. So there are so many different people looking for different experiences when they're looking to travel, and of all different age groups. And a lot of the marketing, because it is quite convoluted, there are different channels that serve purposes for different people. So the most important thing before you start embarking on any marketing is to really understand who your core audience is. Who is that ideal visitor, guest, or customer that you want to attract to your business before you embark on any marketing activities? So with that in mind, let me share my top tips for 2023. I'll just share my screen.
Lovely. Now, I do want to reiterate this session is being recorded and let everybody know that. And we do send an email out post the session with a link to the recording. So it's a continual resource, because I'm here scribing down some notes myself and I'm sure everybody else will be too. But it's great to be able to revert back to some of these pearls of wisdom that Monica is going to share with us.
Fantastic. Thank you. So really what I wanted to do is answer a few questions for everybody around, what are the core things that we actually want to achieve in 2023, not just what are the top marketing tips. So one of the important things for us in the travel and tourism industry is to understand what is the best way to engage a tourism client into 2023. And apologies, screen is not working. There we go. It is video. Now, video is one of the best ways to showcase your tourism and travel experience. And I just think, you can write about it, you can show photos, but if you can put the customer in the experience and show them what it looks like and how it feels to be in that experience, you're going to really be able to win over customers, particularly with the new channels that are emerging within the marketing atmosphere these days. So let me tell you why. Now, just by way of introduction, this is our wellness coordinator for Purple Giraffe. This is Coco, and she captures everybody's attention as soon as people walk in the office door. So she's my little little favourite today.
I love Coco. I've had the pleasure of meeting her too.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous.
she is just gorgeous. So talking about capturing people's attention, video is my top way to capture your customers' attention in 2023. It is so much more capturing than text and imagery. Video is also entertaining and addictive. If you think about TikTok and Instagram Reels, people are now, instead of watching TV, they are flicking through Reels for a couple of hours in the evening and laughing and just entertaining themselves. So this is a really important channel for 2023. Videos get better exposure across digital platforms as well. So you'll find that if you're doing video marketing or just general video content, you will get ranked higher than general text content on the socials. Video also allows you to create that immersive and experiential moment, like I mentioned before, with your tourism product. They give you the brand value and voice that you need, so you can really overlay your videos with a personality. And product videos make people feel more confident in what they're buying because they can see for themselves, wow, that looks like a fantastic experience, and also gives you that credibility as a business when they can see that what you are showing them looks like an amazing experience.
Okay, good boy.
One of the key questions that we get around video, because it can be quite daunting, is like, how long does my video content need to be? And I've given you.
Sorry, Monica. I'm just going to pause you there. We've got someone who appears to have their microphone on. Can I just ask you to mute that, please? Because we're picking up your conversation through our presentation there. Thank you. That's much appreciated. Excellent. Thanks, Monica. Over to you.
Not a problem at all. So as I mentioned, all of the different channels have an ideal time to showcase your video. So if we look at Instagram and Facebook video, it's 1 minute. Instagram, Facebook stories, 15 seconds. Quickly get your message out there. Instagram Reels are between 15 and 60 seconds. TikTok videos, 7 to 15. Twitter videos, 44 seconds. YouTube videos, 60 seconds, although they can be up to 10 minutes or an hour. LinkedIn video, keep it to 30 seconds maximum. We want to keep the people who have a very short time to view videos, keep their attention to that 30 seconds. Snapchat videos are 7 seconds and Pinterest are 6 to 15 seconds. So as you can see, it's really important to look at what the length of the video content is to keep those users engaged. Now, how do I create engaging content? And I think this is something that, you know, a lot of people ask and again, may feel really daunting, but really it's just about capturing your audience's curiosity. Tell them something they don't know. Show them part of your experience that, you know, is really unique to your business. Know your audience, as I mentioned in laying our foundation. If you know your audience, you're going to know how to hold their attention. Use eye-catching visuals. We have lots of eye-catching visuals. We're very lucky in this industry to be able to showcase such amazing tourism experiences. Oh, I think we're getting someone else.
I think, again, we're just still getting some background noise from someone. If we could just ask everybody to please keep themselves on mute, that would be great. Thanks, guys. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you. Again, in the tourism travel industry, incorporating storytelling. So rather than just showcasing your experience, have a video that talks about how your experience came to life, the people that own your business, the work that you do in your local community. All of that storytelling really engages people in video. And then also appeal to their emotion, to their ethics and their rationale. Most marketing, we appeal to emotion. And that's really what gets people wanting to buy or to experience your product, but also to their ethics. So, you may have an environmental factor to your business, or, you might have a great rationale for a certain target market to experience your product. So really important to keep those things in mind when you're creating your videos. And then lastly, how do I get started? Like I said, can be daunting, but really just focus on simple ideas that's achievable for your business. Have titles, text over your screen with keywords that will optimize the engagement so people know what you're talking about. If you don't have a high quality camera, do not worry about it. Everyone uses their smartphone these days. So most smartphones have a really good camera and you'll be able to shoot some great quality footage. And you can also save money by using in-app editing features. So iMovie and Filmora have some really great editing features that are free and are really easy. You can jump on YouTube to find out how to use them. And, you'll be a pro at video creation and editing in no time.
Oh, Monica, I really love that first tip about video content because particularly like you said, it is entertaining and we've all fallen into that black hole of an evening of scrolling through TikTok or Instagram Reels as well. And many tourism operators know storytelling is a huge part of our industry, from if you're guiding to engaging with your guests. So it's just probably really applying what you're already doing into it and just recording that essentially. And yeah, we've got some amazing, what we offer is experiences and perhaps the little things we might take for granted, if that's the, caravan park on the river with the kangaroo hopping through every morning, or on dusk for a quick feed. Like that's great little content that, people are wanting to see.
Absolutely.
Right. So what's the next hot tip? Oh, well, sorry, we haven't quite finished on video. Sorry.
No. So the next hot tip really is about channels. So what channels should we be using to market our videos in 2023? And the list here are TikTok, Instagram Reels, Instagram and Facebook Stories, and Instagram TV. So these are the most popular channels that we can market our tourism experiences on from a digital perspective. And I'm going to talk more around digital because traditional advertising is still just as important. But what I really want to talk about is how you can access these channels without having to incur a lot of cost, and the best way to explain your experiences to your customers.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, Monica, I've sort of read that TikTok and Instagram are now the biggest search engines, are going to be the biggest search engines for 2023. So it's not just an outward platform for you to push content out. It's actually people are searching, sort of a good old Google search. They're using TikTok. Is that correct, to search for things?
You're absolutely right. In 2022, TikTok was the most used online platform with traffic exceeding Google.
Wow.
So it's pretty full on. And for users under the age of 30, TikTok is now the go-to search platform for news, entertainment, and educational content. So
wow.
It's a really important way to get out to that under 30 demographic. And
you can't really afford not to be in it, can you?
Exactly.
You can't sort of dismiss, that's just for the kids, that channel sort of thing.
No, that's it. And it's growing in popularity, particularly TikTok. And then you've also got your Instagram Reels, which are sort of targeting that little bit older age. So just by way of stats on the screen here, it's short form content, less than 60 seconds. Popularity, 3 billion downloads worldwide and 1 billion active users every day. So we really need to pay attention to this market. Demographic is 16 to 24. 60% of users are between 16 and 18 years. And people are using it for an average of 45 minutes a day, which is, and this is just an average. There's a lot of people who are sitting there using it for 4 hours a day. So definitely a really good channel to pay attention to and just learn a little bit more about this year. Now, as I mentioned, Instagram Reels, we're looking at that little bit older market here. And it's really about relating to your audience and putting in content that clicks with people. So they're going to watch their reels and go, wow, that's me. I want to be there. So like this picture that I popped on the screen of the girls in Paris having a wine. Again, huge popularity, 3.8 billion downloads worldwide and 1.4 billion active users. Core demographic, 24 to 34. And average engagement's 53 minutes a day. So as you can see, these channels are, they're taking over TV. I know I don't watch a lot of TV anymore because it's in my hand. It's in my phone now.
Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth, Monica, in the fact that I do feel like this is really taking over traditional TV in terms of an engagement. People are seeking entertainment from these platforms now.
They sure are. And they're feeling a lot more engaged with the content because it's targeted at them specifically. It, there serves the content that is relevant to them. So if they're looking for a holiday and they've searched in a specific key term, they're going to be served your videos and really relevant stuff and continue to find out more about what they're looking for. So it's a really, really important channel for us this year. Instagram and Facebook stories. So these have been around a little bit longer than your TikTok and Instagram Reels. They're short form content. A lot of operators that I've seen have been using them, and they're really quite easy to use. Sort of upload your photo, put a bit of a story around it, make it fun. This is a really great channel because it's only 24 hours. It's a great channel to launch something or to have something really exciting that you want to put out there that people will want to find out about. So you might say, tomorrow we're launching something really big. Check out our Facebook stories to find out more. And because it is such a fleeting nature, it makes it so powerful. This one has the highest demographic users of 40 plus. So again, we're moving up in age. And, once you offer behind the scenes looks or discount codes through your stories, people will be hooked on your updates and they're going to be wanting to watch your stories all the time. So it's a really great channel to be able to engage users from an ongoing basis.
And I probably would just want to share a bit of a personal perspective here, guys, to keep yourself going, I'm not really targeting the TikTok market but I'm probably more Instagram, Facebook. So my demographic, I'm 40 plus. I'm in the Instagram, Facebook demographic as we speak here, but I've actually got two teenage boys who've got phones, who've got TikTok accounts. So we are planning a trip at the second half of this year, and they are feeding the buying decision because we're like, we're looking at X, Y, and Z destinations. So they're searching through their TikTok accounts and sending me information to influence. Ultimately, I make the buying, me and my husband make the buying decision, but how it's really important to have some skin in the game in all of these channels, because how, the market is participating in them, and especially from a teenager perspective, we want them to have buy-in on where we're going, and they're like, yeah, this place looks really good, we should be going X, Y, and Z. So whilst I might not necessarily be spending an hour on TikTok every night, it's definitely the challenge I have with my kids who do want to.
Absolutely, that's such a great point. We've got to keep in mind that there are influencers in the travel purchase, and then there are the decision makers, and often it's the influencers that will influence the destination or the activities, and then it's that decision maker who holds the purse strings. So definitely worth being across all of the channels to make sure that you are capturing those markets. And like I said, when you're creating videos, you may create a 2-minute video, but you can break it down to a 15-second video for your TikTok. You can break it down to a 30-second for your Instagram reel. You can break it down to a 15-second for your Facebook stories. So it's worth considering all channels because you've already created the content for a larger format. So definitely look into that one this year. And then I mentioned IGTV, which is Instagram TV, and this is the longer form video content. And this is great. This is a great starting point. So like I mentioned before, you can create your, say, you could do a 10-minute video, and then you could pop that up on Instagram TV, and then you can cut that down into smaller short videos that can be placed across the other channels. One of the good things with IGTV is that it also has its own dedicated tab in the Instagram Explore page. So people might just pop onto Instagram TV when they want to watch something entertaining, or if they're searching for, you know, a bit more information about an experience that they're looking for. So this is a really great way to increase your reach and also to attract new audiences.
So Monica, for people who are not familiar with IGTV, Instagram TV, from their, I don't know if it's going to pick up my phone, it's not, from their Instagram account, where do they find IGTV specifically?
Yeah, so you won't be able to see my phone either, actually.
Because obviously down the bottom we have the home button, we have the search, then the reels, and then the purchase, and then your profile. So the reels is different to Instagram TV. I think that's, is that correct? Yeah, yes, I think that's important to just to clarify for people who are not familiar with the platform.
So it is different. So it is a longer format.
Yeah, and also the reels that sit above, you know, you have your story and then people come up. That is different to Instagram TV as well.
It is.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, now on to my next tip for 2023. This one is around how can I build credibility for my brand? And I think this one, again, is really important from a brand perspective to make sure that when there's so much noise out there in the marketing world, a lot of the time people are looking for finding out, you know, what brand is credible, so that they trust, to build that trust so that they will purchase through you and not through another operator or tourism provider. So it's all about user-generated content. And now, this is a marketing word, but it's really quite simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's really about, you know, looking out for user reviews on your product or service, comments on a blog or an article. And really the key thing here is that user-generated content is seen as 2.4 times more authentic than brand-created content. So if you're getting a lot of people, and we do it for our clients as well, is we do a photo shoot to create some photos for to represent the brand. But we also recommend that our clients utilise content that some of their customers have put up on social media to show that credibility, and we do use that through their marketing as well. So I'll just sort of take you through what that looks like. The user-generated content can come from your customers, but it can also come from your employees. So at Purple Giraffe, all of our team are very active on socials. And as an example, I went to the TiCSA Business Awards last night with one of my clients. And I took a bunch of photos, posted them on my LinkedIn and my Instagram. And then we will reuse that to promote our client across the next week about the event that they attended. So, and also a lot of other people would have posted photos and tagged the client's name as well, and then we would repost those as well. So it's really, and I guess the key thing there is if you're reposting or utilizing other people's content, it's showing that, you know, a lot of credibility and the fact that other people are interested in that experience or whatever it is that you're promoting. From a tourism hospitality point of view, industry partners content is also really helpful. So your tourism bodies as well, local businesses. So if you've got, if you're partnered with a local business, so say you're an accommodation provider, and then a hotel, a restaurant has posted about, you know, we've had some clients come from this hotel, or this experience has happened. you'll be able to get that content as well. And one of the things, having been previously in an agency group, we go on lots of familials. So when you do get your industry familial groups coming through to your operation, make sure that you ask them to take photos and to tag you on their Instagram. And I've got a really good example. I was very lucky, very, very lucky to go on a familial with in Canada. And I went on the, I've just forgotten what it's called, the Canadian Rocky train. And what they did was to get us to post photos, is that they ran a competition and you had to hashtag them, and then you got to win. And I had a really funny, I tagged them on all of these photos, and the one that they chose for me as a winner was just something really funny and random that I posted. But they also got a whole bunch of photos that they could use for their social media, and I have seen them use them before.
Oh, that's a great example, Monica, and probably led to my next question, was going to be around tagging versus hashtag. Like, what's the best way for a business to keep across this content so they can capture that? Is that, is the hashtag still the way to do that, or is it more encouraging when your guests are here to tag the business's page, their profile page in in whatever they're loading up?
Yep. So one of the things we do here at Purple Giraffe is what we call community management. So we look after our clients' pages. So every day, what we'll do is we'll look at all of the photos or content that has been tagged, but we'll also look at hashtags. So any relevant hashtags that are relevant to the client's industry or their business, we'll also go and have a look at what's been hashtagged, and then we'll look at utilising that content as well. So they're both just as important these days. So one of the really important things for yourselves is to make sure that you do have a list of dedicated hashtags that you use in your content, but that you also follow, so that you can generate extra followers. And a lot of people still search by a hashtag. We mentioned earlier that these digital channels are very much a search engine these days. So making sure that you have those hashtags in your posts will bring you up when people are searching for you.
Yeah, so the power of both. But I feel like Anissa, you and I are on the same page here, Anissa, because I've just seen your question that's come through the group chat as well about what's the difference between sharing to a group and tagging to a group. So could you just clarify that for us, please, Monica?
So share to a group, so say like...
So what's the difference within sharing to a group and tagging to a group? And, Anita, if you wanted to quickly pop yourself off me, I'm more than happy for you to quickly clarify that direct with Monica.
I'll do that. Great.
Perfect. And here we go.
To talk to me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I made the mistake a while ago that I was sharing my content with groups or maybe even with people, and I was at the wrong page with them. So, and I was told you could tag them, and you post something, you just tag that group or that person. So what makes the difference? Can I really tag anybody, everybody, and they can do whatever they want with that? Or is that also a bit dangerous if I do that? I really don't understand that real difference. Does that make sense?
I'm not quite sure what the context is there.
Okay. If I promote something out of my business and I send it through my business, and then I can share it with let's talk over Facebook, share it with other groups or other people. And some groups apparently are private or even public groups don't want me to share stuff, right?
Yeah.
With tagging, what's the difference? Can I tag them? Does it make sense now?
Yeah. So I think when you're talking about groups, so there are some public and private, like Facebook groups that you can tag or send your content to, and they'll have moderators, and those moderators will decide whether your content is relevant to that group, and whether and often they'll have rules around whether they will share commercial content and whether they won't. So I think it's sometimes with groups, it can be a bit hit or miss when it comes to promoting your product. One of the best ways to engage those types of groups is actually more so to comment on people's posts within the group, to engage those people a bit more, so that they'll talk to you, and then they'll look at your page, and then they'll start looking to follow you. If this is specifically if those groups aren't wanting to promote what you've given them to promote, but if you'd still like to engage that group, then it's better to go in there with a voice, so that you can sort of build yourself within that community, and then and build the credibility with them, so that then in the future they would be happy to share your posts. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank
Not
you.
100%, sorry, not 100%. I still don't, the tagging, sharing is at the bottom. I share just my whole stuff with it. But if I post something at the top, I can just tag, a name or a business name. What's the difference within those two?
So if you tag a business in a general post on your page, is that what you're saying?
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Yep. So you can tag a business, and what will happen there is that it won't be on their page unless they've accepted. So there's two things. If you've tagged them and they've marked it in their settings that people can't post on their page, they'll receive a message saying that this business would like to tag you. They can accept it, and then it will go on their page, or they can say no and it won't go on their page. But they will be notified that they've been tagged, and then if they don't want to have it come up automatically on their page, they can look to share it themselves. So I think what you're saying is around the privacy settings for that business.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying that, Monica. And Anita, what I'll do is post this session. I'll do an introduction between yourself and Monica, so you can further take that conversation offline if you wanted to, because I'm conscious if anybody wants to work through any other questions people might have, and also more information for you to share with us as well, Monica. But thank you, Anita. That was a great question.
Thank you. And just to clarify, it was the Rocky Mountaineer. I just had a brain freeze.
Always the way.
Amazing experience.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, that would have been Canada. I haven't been there yet, but it's definitely on my list. But it's always timing when you've got people on the screen in front of you. Yeah, the mental blank.
It just popped into my head.
Lovely. Thanks, Monica.
No worries. I'll try and breeze through this one. So what kind of content is user generated? So photos, videos, live streams that you can forward. Reviews and ratings are a really important one. So if you're talking Facebook or even on your website, if someone has provided a public review about your business, either on Facebook, on Google My Business, on any review platform, you are able to promote that on your channels. So for a lot of our clients, we'll create a Facebook post or a social post that includes that testimonial or review. And that just really helps to build up your credibility. So if you're not already utilising Google My Business reviews, I really recommend doing that. And I'll talk a bit more about that later. So we've got blog comments. So if you've got a blog on your website and you've got comments enabled, that's another really great user-generated content. Testimonials, as I mentioned, and then also social media posts. So someone might post on socials, and then if you share that to your page, it's another way to utilise user-generated content. And just check, last but not least on this one, What does user-generated content do? And I think I've covered most of this, but it really builds trust in your brand, creates brand loyalty. It makes your brand more authentic, and it actually does improve your conversion rates, because if you've got a lot of great reviews on your business, you're going to see a higher conversion rate when it comes to people making bookings. It helps you scale your business quite easily and scale your content, and it really lifts your return on investment on your marketing dollar. So I highly recommend utilising user-generated content this year.
And I think people personally get a bit of a buzz when they see something that they've posted out get picked up by the business as well, don't they?
They sure do. And that's where that brand loyalty comes into play. They feel like they've got that connection with you as a brand, and then they're going to be more loyal, as well as refer customers to you.
Yeah, fabulous.
Great. So tip number 4, how do I acquire this high quality, authentic content without a high production cost? Now, as we know, marketing can be expensive. If you're doing advertising, if you're wanting to get a production company to put together a video, a lot of us don't have the time or the money to do it ourselves. So my recommendation for 2023 is to engage some influencer marketing. Now, as most people would know, influencer marketing involves brand collaborating online with an influencer on its products or services. It's basically a hybrid of old marketing and new marketing. So in the old days, we would use a celebrity endorsement, but now we actually use these online influencers to endorse our products and services to generate content. And often it's a lot cheaper than a celebrity endorsement. So let's go into how we can do this.
Yeah, how do we go about doing that?
So just a quick stats, and the reason that I brought influencer marketing into this is that it's grown to $16.4 billion market in 2022. Businesses are making a $5 return on investment for every $1 spent on influencer marketing, and often the cost to get into influencer marketing is really, really low. Search around influencer marketing has grown incredibly. Some of these statistics that I've got here from the State of Influencer Marketing Benchmark report. In that report, 90% of survey respondents believe that influencer marketing to be an effective form of marketing, and 67% of brands use Instagram for influencer marketing. That is massive. And if you're not jumping onto this trend, I think you're missing out. So, and this another crazy thing, there's 1,360 influencer marketing focused platforms and agencies that entered the market in the last 5 years. So when we talk about, innovation and new things coming out, new trends, this is definitely a really big trend. And there's some people that, are making a hell of a lot of money being an influencer. And this is a job that didn't exist 5 years ago. So
absolutely. So I'm really aware of influencers. I actually have to say these earring purchase, influencer-based purchase. So I understand all that. I suppose it could probably seem quite overwhelming for a small business to go, well, where do I start? Understanding the power of an influencer marketing or endorsement. Where do I start?
Okay. Well, look, firstly, I'll talk about why we would do some influencer marketing. Really, the benefit is to amplify your brand awareness. So because influencers do have often will have quite a large target market that are following them, really helps to amplify your brand awareness, reaching a relevant audience. So one of the key things with influencers is they're quite niche. Often it's better to work with a niche influencer who may have, say, 20,000 followers compared to an influencer that has 1 million followers, because that 20,000 followers are probably more niche to their demographic and what they're actually interested in. So, as an example, we'll talk about, like, say, dog food. If you've got there's a lot of pet influencers out there that I've noticed, and they're parents, dog parents that are creating these videos and reels about dogs, but then they utilize dog food companies or innovative. Heard today there's a company in Adelaide that created a really ergonomic dog ramp, and they're utilising influencers to get to the right market, and the people that are following a dog influencer have a dog. How crazy is that? And there are a lot of travel influencers out there that are also really relevant, but then also you might be targeting 40-year-olds, females who love luxury travel. There are a lot of influencers that are targeting that market. So that's where, again, going back to who is my ideal target market, and that's where we start when we want to figure out who is the best influencer for us.
I think that's some really good points, because obviously we see the South Australian Tourism Commission definitely leveraged influence marketing over the over the last couple of years, and there are the big ones, and particularly in South Australia with big followings, you know, Adelaide, Cozzy, and even individuals like probably even Rebecca Morse, you know, and Rory and Belinda Sloan. But, you know, it's about drilling that down to keeping true to who is your core audience, who is your ideal guest as well.
Absolutely. And because, like you were saying with Rebecca Morse, she's got real credibility in the market. So she gives your brand credibility and trust. And utilising influencer marketing really helps you amplify your content strategy, increase your social engagement, improves your search engine rankings as well, which in end really boosts your conversions. And one of the great things about influencer marketing is that influencers will focus a lot of their attention on their video and image creation, because that's what they're using. If you use an influencer for your marketing, you're actually getting high quality videos and images at a really low cost that you get to use across your marketing campaigns for the rest of the year. And that, I think, is a really great way to start on your video marketing and your and influencing your content strategy.
That's a good tip, actually. That's great.
How to choose the right influencers? Like I said, understanding your influencer's niche. Look at the right metrics as well. So this is sometimes where people can get a bit stuck, where they go, well, look, I'm going to go with this influencer because they've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers, but they may not actually have huge engagement rates. So they might have run a big competition, or they might just be super popular from The Bachelor and have just got lots of people following them, but they don't have that credibility and the engagement that you're looking for your business. You want to make sure that you're reaching the right demographic as well, as I said. So make sure that you look at those metrics as well as how many followers that they do have before you engage an influencer. One other really important thing that we look at for our clients as well is making sure that we're matching in terms of your values, your tone of voice, and your personality. You don't want to be working with an influencer or collaborating with an influencer who doesn't have the same values as your business and isn't going to attract the same kind of trust and credibility that you're looking for your business. So that's a really, really important thing to look at. And then lastly, really look at the quality of their production. So like I said, if you want to utilise their videos and photos, you're looking for an influencer that does that really, really well.
Yeah, I think there are some really good tips there, Monica, around the influencer and influencer marketing, in a space that probably people are keen to understand a little bit more about, because obviously I just mentioned some influencers in travel that are on the top end of town, but you don't need to necessarily use the big end of town, because it has to align with who is, you know, your target market, like you said, and looking into those right metrics as well is a really, really good point. Don't get sort of bamboozled just by a big name and how many followers they get or likes.
See, and look, there's a really growing trend with family influencers as well, who are traveling across Australia for the year. And some of them, you know, I remember when I worked for Discovery Parks, we worked with Trip in a Van, and they were quite small at the time, but now they're huge and massive, and they're creating products and they're collaborating with different travel brands. So, you know, an influencer that might not be huge now, if you collaborate with them, not only will you generate some more interest for your business, but you might help grow their business as well and have future collaborations with them. And, you know, and that's what it's all about really, is working with different people and growing the tourism and travel industry in general.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's some great advice there.
Okay. So for my last tip, we're all, like I mentioned at the start, it's a very competitive market. So how do we rank above our competitors? And when I talk about rank, I'm talking about Google. So I know we said that TikTok is, you know, one of our highest search engines, but Google is still there and is never going away. And we really need to make sure that we've got our Google basics right. Any travel brand that ignores Google as part of their marketing efforts will be left behind in this competitive market, especially now that we've got, you know, so many that we're competing for that share of wallet as well. So let's have a look at what these basics are. So Google My Business, I mentioned earlier, is one of our absolute favourite things, and it's the most free thing you can do from a marketing perspective that is going to help put your business out there, you know, and really grow awareness and conversions for your business. The key thing you really need to look at is making sure that you've got your location set up correctly in Google My Business. Make sure you've got your contact details in there, include your website if you've got one, and your social links. Include photos. A lot of businesses don't include photos on their Google My Business page. You can add photos like you would social posts. And what we do with our clients is we actually do a weekly post once a week so that we're keeping content fresh, so that if someone Googles your business, they can see, you know, some of the latest photos and information that has come up for your business. Reviews, as I mentioned earlier, really, really important for Google My Business. If someone Googles for something in your category, if you've got a Google My Business and you have reviews, you'll be sitting up the top, and it's one of the key things that is shown in the organic search that comes up. It will show how many reviews that you've got, and a lot of people will click into your business and look at those reviews. Include your amenities, your products and services, and my biggest bugbear is make sure you keep your business hours up to date, particularly when there's public holidays happening. I know that a lot of businesses forget to do that. Particularly important in tourism and hospitality and travel, because people do go away on weekends and long weekends. And if you don't update your public holiday hours and you decide you're going to take the day off, you know, give everyone a break, people are still out in regions doing travel, tourism activities. And if they rock up to your business thinking that you're open because Google says you're open and everyone trusts Google, they're going to have a really poor brand experience with your business. So I really want to reiterate, please make sure that you update your hours in Google. This also syncs with Facebook as well. So make sure that both Facebook and Google hours are always updated. Okay, so Google Analytics. Google Analytics, a lot of people would have Google Analytics sitting behind their website. It's such a great way to understand your customers. So this is when we're looking at setting our foundations and deciding who we're going to target and, you know, what's the best time of year or best time of day to target people. You can get so much insight from your Google Analytics as to what your traffic is on your website, who your customers are, where they're coming from, and you can really utilize those for your marketing campaigns, and really create and analyze your reports to make sure that all of your statistics that you are using to create your marketing campaigns are really helpful. And I know we're running out of time, so I'm just going to breeze through the next one. Google Ads. Most people would have heard of Google Ads. Really great to target your ideal customer. It can help you to increase reach and view rates for your business, for your website, generates more traffic. And one of the key things is that with Google Ads, you only pay per click as well. So we're not, putting tons of money into something that doesn't return a click through to your website. So that's why I do recommend in such a competitive market that you do look at running Google Ads. Do you have any questions around that, Kathy?
I certainly don't, but I think it's a really good one to go over is Google. And, particularly as we touch on the fact of, TikTok and other of these social media platforms are, becoming very big search engine. They're becoming very big search engines. Google particularly is still a major player there in the market. And I love your point about public holidays and people not updating their business trading hours, because that's when our ideal customers are a lot of the time searching for us.
That's right.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Fabulous. Thank you, Monica. You have shared some wonderful tips with us today. I would encourage, we're conscious of time, I'd encourage anybody to pop anything on the chat function if you have any questions or queries. But yeah, I think whilst we do that, just obviously in summary, as Monica's got up there, it's about, video content and creating engaging video content to showcase your experience. It's about the latest platforms and engaging with your customers on the latest platforms. User-generated content we've talked about quite a bit, and making the most of content that's already been generated there for you. Lean on it, leverage it to your the benefit of your business, and really, there's some great ROI on that, but it's really good for your brand credibility and building on that brand credibility. Influencer marketing, I know this is a big one and probably a new space for a lot of people, but just put your toe in the water with it this year. And if you need some advice in navigating that space, that's where our partners in Purple Giraffe are experts in all of this, but can help hold your hand as well. And lastly but not least, Google. I feel like I've done the talking here for you, Monica.
You sure
in a bit of a wrap up, but last but not least is Google, and it's about being back to basics there and getting the 101 right. And so I simply go with Google. It's probably really important just to do a bit of a audit, wouldn't you say, Monica, or every year or every 6 months on a couple of these basics where you're on these sites, but and even with the platforms that you're, social media platforms and your website, just doing a bit of an audit on them from a customer's perspective.
Yeah, put yourself in the customer's shoes and think about how they find you. And often that will be on social media and on Google. There's no one looks in the yellow pages these days, and often they won't go directly to a directory. They'll go through Google first. They'll Google it, and they'll look at your profile, and people take the information very, very seriously. That, like, if it says that you're open, they're going to go and visit you. So that's my absolute last reiteration, is make sure that you get your information correct everywhere so that people can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I'm just going to share with you what's hit home for me today. It's about being where your customers are dreaming, guys, because that's where the planning happens. And I'm experiencing it, like I said, with myself, with my own family, but be where your customer starts dreaming, because that's where these buying decisions and behaviours and that your opportunity to influence that. And largely that's through this video-based content that's put on a range of platforms online. So yeah, that would be my key recommendation and probably takeaway point from everything Monica has shared with us today. So with that in mind, thank you, Monica, for imparting the valuable information, your time, and particularly your expertise, having such a rich history in our industry as well. I hope everybody on the call has gained something, even if it's one thing you've got out of that and can implement it for this year. I'm sure it will be of benefit to your company. I know I've certainly built and got a few takeaways myself. Like I said, this session has been recorded today. So after this session, we'll be sending out an email with a live link to the recording so you can come back and use it as a valuable resource. I'd like to lastly remind all of our members that they receive a 1-hour complimentary consultation to review current marketing practices with Purple Giraffe. So if anything takes your fancy or you want to pick Monica's brain anymore, we will be sending that as a part of the email to you all, and I encourage you to just make the most of it. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no strings attached at the end, but as a member, that's great value add as part of your membership with TiCSA to access these resources as well. I'll leave it with you guys. Thank you, Monica. Thank you to everybody on today's call. Have a wonderful day. It looks glorious outside, and I can't wait to enjoy a little bit of it today as well. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.